Well, hello YouTube land. How you doing today? Welcome to Cars and Coffee with Mo, but no cars. Cheers to boop to you. So, I thought for the coffee segment, I'd talk about just things that interest me and see if anybody puts some comments down in the video, and love to figure out or find out what other people's opinions are. I got this mug. Unfortunately, I think the screen shows it backwards, but I got this mug at a place called Vulcan, Alberta, which is kind of the official, unofficial home of Spock. There was kind of a, let's say, merchandise place that had all things Star Trek. There's a little Star Trek museum there. And I got this mug, which is the Many Emotions of Spock. And there's all these emotions on here, and he looks exactly the same. One of my favorite mugs. I thought I'd drink a coffee from it today. So, what I'd like to talk about today is maybe a little bit about society and perhaps a little bit about technology. And this is all coming from the perspective of a mid 40s Gen Xer that I believe I've lived a pretty full life, riddled with challenges and privileges, and that's that really. So, regarding society, I have been in a position that I am able to just observe society a lot more than I used to. And I don't know if ignorance is bliss, maybe, in the sense that when we don't pay attention to the things that are going on in the world, we're really pretty, well, obviously, it's not even on our radar. And whether we choose to, I guess, be a little bit ignorant, or what's the right term? Maybe whether we choose to be mindful of kind of things happening in society or not, that's obviously a choice. And I wonder if it's easier to ignore the things that are happening or to actually be aware and following the pulse of what's happening in society. But I have been unable to work due to a ongoing illness, and just trying to manage that. And by virtue of that situation, just been paying attention a lot more to the goings on in society. I think there's a shift, like a paradigm shift, that's actually been really impactful to people, and many people that are paying attention and whatnot. They're realizing that the way in which we broach how we participate in society has changed. A lot of people are really putting on blinders and staying in their own lane, as they say, and I think that's by virtue of the fact that people are at maximum capacity emotionally. There's not much left with many people working many hours a week to try to secure an income in a society where things are getting drastically more and more expensive, and their let's say circle is full of the needs and challenges that come with taking care of your family and taking care of your goals and whatnot. And there's really not much left, I think, in people. Um, and society in general, I believe, is walking around in a numb state to the geopolitical um, things that are happening, to things that are happening in the economy. And I wonder what, I wonder how a day to day is of um, trying to balance these needs and these wants. And studies have shown that mental health has been a challenge for many in society over the last few years, post the virus and mm, post the economy slowing down, and really with all the interest rate sort of excuse me interest rate changes, hopefully for the better, and reduced interest rates that will hopefully help stimulate the economy. Around me, my close group of friends, I'm happy to observe that they're continuing to be successful in a varied amount of fields. And I've just noticed that for some of my friends, it seems like they're in a blind, have blinders on. And I wonder how long that will last. And I had an old friend that was somebody that took action for change. He was a emergency surgeon, and then went into family medicine, and shared that that's been a huge challenge in their life. They're overworked and understaffed and expected to manage their own well-being while trying to take care of other people. And that's such a bizarre dichotomy. It's like, when a caregiver somehow, in whatever type of work, is trying to give care, but they themselves need care, and they are unable to properly access it even for themselves. It's unfortunate that I I think there's a lot of physicians that are leaving the practice of medicine. There's a YouTuber named the channel's Gooby and Dooby, and he had a pretty profound video where he discusses quitting neurosurgery because the model of medicine has become less about do no harm and provide care, and more about being profitable. And I wonder what sort of social impact, like, we're obviously in the middle of, let's say, a decline in level of care. Although we're probably in the best era as far as what medicine can do to help people, the problem is the ability to access uh, those forms of therapy or specialists that you need to see, as more and more doctors are leaving the practice, it seems. And that kind of goes back to this emotional intelligence that people have, and whether they choose to be um, mindful and aware of what's going on. And I tend to be in the camp that um, I should learn about things that I don't know. And there's a mantra that's literally, you don't know what you don't know, because you don't even you don't even know that. And I spend a lot of time trying to determine what I don't know and studying what I don't know and studying it's always been in my nature. Been in my nature, and guess that will never stop. Although I used to have a mind that served me very well, and due to this illness, things have changed, and I do my best to be informed, but um, I'm just unable to process information like I used to. Um, so it's interesting that, like, I try to predict, like, what's going to happen to society is with the let's say increase in the newer generations to push back on what work life looks like. Um, Perhaps leaving a productivity gap if enough people don't engage in this 9 to 5 corporate sort of model. You know, how are we going to bridge that gap? I tended to believe that in the last decade, the pendulum had swung too far in the favor of corporations and profits. And like all many natural systems, things kind of try to come back to equilibrium. And I think that's where society is people are pushing back about how many hours they should work. The idea of a second hustle on top of your first job. Um, the fact is, we can talk about the benefits and challenges that come with with this social situation, but at the end of the day, we are all responsible for keeping a roof over our heads and having a meal, enough to take care of the loved ones around us, as much as we can. And the point is, like, we can talk about it all day, but we still have to participate in that system. And I've been thinking about, well, how does one mindfully navigate a situation where they've got so much to do, not enough time, seemingly not enough compensation for their time? And that's where I thought about ignorance is bliss. When I was in my career in a corporate environment, um, you are in an echo chamber amongst your peers about your lifestyle, your friend groups, your peer groups, um, your goals in life. They're all impacted by this echo chamber that you're surrounded with in your environment. And only when one steps away or does some deep work about the situation they're in do they realize how profound that situation is, and When you step out of that situation, you are able to have some perspective and bless the people that are still in their corporate 9 to 5s, let's say, which doesn't exist in corporate. Anybody knows that this 9 to 5 salary is more like, well, it's more like an 8 to 7 these days, with so many companies laying off and restructuring and saddling people with the leftover work. My heart goes out to people that are struggling and stuck, and I tend to come from a place of gratitude and try to be thankful for the capacities that I still have and the opportunities that I had early on in life, and kind of the career that I had pursued. And if you start from a place of gratitude, you realize that things change over time, and people change over time, and to be thankful for the things that we have is a great place to start. And also in that mindset is to not have guilt or sadness over the change in abilities, careers, and quality of life. I don't know. I don't know if anybody is watching this video and wants to comment about whether they kind of put blinders on or really have their finger on the pulse of society. That would be great. Let's see. I wanted to talk a little bit about technology. I was doing a little bit of research about what new emerging tech is happening, and essentially everybody knows that AI has been and will continue to be incorporated in all sorts of technologies that we use. I'm of the camp that AI is a tool. Do I think that there's going to be a significant change in the labor market because of AI? Absolutely. I mean, as soon as AI gets incorporated into steady state systems or products manufacturing, product development, product marketing, there has to be an impact to people. Now, the reason I say it should be used as a tool and is a tool is there's the camp that says, well, if it's all trained on work that we've already done, then, that's kind of unscrupulous or scrupulous. And that is true. But time and time again, we know that companies exist to make profits. Some companies are more mindful about a balanced way of getting profits, and some companies are really strict and regimented and most efficient to try to exercise maximum profit for shareholders. I mean, that's the sort of full circle that exists if you are into securities and holding stocks and things like that. You sure want your stocks to go up in value, and if you're one of the persons working at a specific company, let's say that for the people that work at the company where you own stocks, they are generating value on behalf of you as a shareholder, and they have to work extra hard, let's say, or generate maximum value so that the share prices go up, so that more people buy stocks and the shares go up. So I'm very mindful, actually, of that idea. And although I would love to, it would be great to have the ability to retire early, I'm mindful of, the company that I invest in. I do look at their culture and look at their long-term vision, and if that jives, then, and I think it's something I believe in, then usually I will try to invest in that. Again, if you have comments on that, there's, the old adage, and I think it was actually tested out where, they compared the overall returns of somebody that invested, that's very qualified financial advisor or money manager, and compared it to the performance of stocks that they just threw darts at a dartboard, and picked those stocks based on just random throws of the darts. It's not random, I guess. Certain stocks were on this dartboard, and they just threw darts selected. And I need to find that sort of exercise and the outcome. But if I recall correctly, the money manager doesn't perform necessarily as good as just randomly picking stocks. Anyway, back to technology. It's interesting how much development there's been in space exploration as far as private companies like Tesla. Well, Boeing's been in that for quite some time as well, but the idea that it's so interesting to think about. There's a writer and scientist named Carl Sagan that has this beautiful commentary when asked about the significance of life on this planet. And I believe he said something like, humans are like mites on a plum that is, plum being the Earth, that is orbiting this, unspecial star, so to speak, on the edge of our galaxy, and our star is just one of billions of stars in billions of galaxies, and like hundreds of billions of galaxies in the visible universe that we estimate based on astronomers and astrophysics studies. And even the universe itself that is visible to us is one of an infinite predicted number of other universes with potentially billions of galaxies and billions of stars inside them. And he says to think that the universe exists because humankind exists is literally pathetic. And it's such a profound statement that he made when he made that. And for him being a scientist, that's pretty obvious. But I wonder how much the general population thinks about that. And it starts to make us realize even if we, how great an accomplishment it is to go into space and potentially colonize Mars in the next 100 years, let's say, on a regular basis. That really pales in comparison to what is out there. People understand that the universe is big, but I don't think they realize like how vast and big it is. And there's a lot of theories that matter that has mass will never be able to approach the speed of light. Photons and whatnot can, but the speed of light is this really vast speed. It's 3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second. And we can't approach that because just the slightest change in speed at approaching speed of light would have such significant g-forces on the human body that we wouldn't be able to survive it. But the point is, even at the speed of light, like other galaxies are like, I believe it's hundreds of thousands of light years. So at the speed of light, we would have to travel for hundreds of thousands of years to arrive at these other galaxies. And it just goes to show how minute our abilities are in the greater space that we live in. And I would love to be a fly on the wall in 2120 to see how much, let's say, quantum physics and propulsion has changed. Sorry, it seems like there's a fire truck somewhere. Hopefully it doesn't come into the camera feed. But our understanding of field theory and gravity and how to manipulate electromagnetic fields so that maybe gravity doesn't exist in certain, let's call them domains, and how propulsion might be able to manifest in places without gravity, or you essentially kind of warp time space around you for so that gravity is minimized, and perhaps the forces that we might experience as we travel faster and faster might become more and more, I wouldn't say negligible, but reduced. It's fascinating, and I've spent some time reading about quantum mechanics, which is paradigm shift in, let's say, the 1940s, where people like Einstein, Clerk Maxwell, let's see, Niels Bohr, and I think there was a French mathematician called Dirac. They all came up with a mathematical model for the theory of the very, very small, and how traditional classical physics doesn't hold true, and things are more about statistical probabilities and state spaces and energy levels. which leads to subatomic particles, and the theories, according to some of the mathematicians of the 1940s and scientists of the 1940s. And it dawns on me that it's like there's some amazing developments that happened in the 1940s in physics and math that were kind of leaps. Now I'm going to age myself. There used to be a show called Quantum Leap, which was a cool little show in the 90s. But there was like a quantum leap in theory, and it feels like, for all intents and purposes, all that's happened over time is that we've designed equipment to like test and vet those theories, but like new theories are not maybe developing as fast as it seems, as that window of like the 1920s to the 1950s. Now that is obviously in relation to the presence of some great minds in the scientific community, like Tesla, like Niels Bohr, and Einstein, and Richard Feynman, and these people that happened to be in a time where they were thinking about these things and adept enough to make these theories. And I wonder, who are the people today that are coming up with these theories? String theory is one that has been, let's say, kind of the more recent development in how we believe the universe exists, and these connections that might, let's say, define how the universe is constructed and how the universe is made up. And it's all very interesting. I wish I was better at math, because some of the string theory math essentially it is quite difficult, and requires high levels of study to understand the fundamentals of mathematical processes, to be able to understand the equations that are coming up. But string theory kind of talks about and kind of explains some of the bizarre things that happen in the really subatomic level, things like quantum entanglement, where particles can be vast distances apart from each other, but a state change, we're talking much bigger than, as I understand, much bigger than the subatomic scale, but like even like very large distances, cosmic distances even, that a change in the state of one particle can impact another particle that's quantumly entangled with it so far away. And it must be something that is connecting them, whether it's a material thing or an energy thing. And string theory tries to approach that and look at essentially look at what might be connecting matter and space and time. Boy, I kind of went from society to a little bit of quantum physics. Sorry if I've lost any, or not lost, but sorry if I've um, made anybody fall asleep. I think this is a good place for me and Spock to commiserate over our knowledge of the universe. And I'll kind of have these coffee with Mo chats hopefully once every couple of weeks. I'd like to get some more time researching and more time looking at what's present in society and talking about that, and hopefully having discussions with the YouTube community. I am a small channel. I like to manifest this statement. I'm a 1,000,000 subscriber YouTuber. I just need 999,986 more people. We've moved up to the 999,980s. And it's fun to manifest these ideas and see what happens. So I invite you, if you enjoyed this long ramble, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and join me in the... Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical challenge there, but just wanted to say thank you for spending some time, and invite you to subscribe and turn on the notifications, and be kind to yourself. Those of you that stayed to the end, you're the best. Thank you very much. And pop a comment down in the comment field if you made it to the end and heard me say multiverse. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We'll see you on the next one.